I have a dream of one day being able to make majority of my income off probably YouTube, making like films about my life on there. YouTube as a platform is very unique because, like, as we were talking about before we started, you got to worry about that first 30 seconds. Yep. You got to worry about the title, and you got to worry about the thumbnail. It probably will be harder to go through this process and figure out my unique thing that makes my videos pop and like makes them worth watching. But if I can do that, then boom, there's my success right there.
Yes.
This content journey, it is a marathon. It's gonna be really hard. Like, a lot of this has sucked, but I also love doing it so much that I didn't ever want to stop. And like, hey, I have not made it yet, but I'm starting to. Like, I'm here on this podcast. Like, I would never have thought I would do something like this, you know, a couple of years back. So the biggest thing about this is like, find that drive within you, stick it out, grit your teeth. It's gonna suck, but one day it won't, and that day is like so worth it.
Today's guest is Sky, a Sydney-based creative who's made the jump from working full-time with brands to working on his own as a freelance creative, connecting with clients from around the world, from the UK to Canada and America. However, his bigger, more aspirational goal is to make a living creating videos about his life and posting them on YouTube. In this episode, we talk about what that journey actually looks like, the highs and lows of working on your own compared to working with brands, and the key lessons that Sky's picked up while successfully growing his YouTube channel. So if you're someone who's chasing a similar path, or if you've ever dreamed about turning your passion into your lifestyle, this is the type of conversation that I think will hit home. So let's get into it. You do a lot, dude. Like, from following you, I was still trying to figure out where I came across your page on socials, whether it was on Insta or YouTube. But from following and watching all your videos, you've done some full-time creative work, freelance, and you create for yourself.
Yeah.
All of that takes a whole lot of time. That I look at it and I'm like, how do people like this manage their time to be able to cover all these things? And I think also when you do a whole lot of different things, if I always struggle to introduce myself to people I don't know. Like when someone's like, hey, this is Kenny. He is like, and sometimes I used to say I'm a photographer. Then now it's like, I make social content for businesses is basically what I say. Because especially for me, it's like, I do some podcasting, I do some photography studio stuff, I make content. I'm like, no one's going to want to sit there and listen to me list out all the things I do. So in like one line, I'm just like, I make social content for businesses and brands. That's usually what I say. What do you think you would say? What do you think you'd want to be introduced as?
I was thinking about this on the car ride because this has been an issue. Is like when I meet new people, it's like I have like a list of like 200 different things or something that I do.
Yeah, they're like, what do you do?
But I think if I had to like summarize it, it's like one part filmmaker and one part freelance creator. Like, or creative freelancer. I don't know which way around I want to put that, but it's like, so like the filmmaking side is like me making my own stuff, and then the freelance side is like now what I do to pay the bills at the end of the day. Yeah, cool. And that's just like working for creators pretty much.
And that's fairly new. I saw one of your videos only like a few months ago.
So like when I was at Rhodes, so like I went full-time freelance in January, and then prior to that, while I was at Rhodes, also working on the side for a bigger creator in Canada. And then like, January ended up leaving Rhodes and went full-time freelance. And so that's been like 5 months now, if
goes by quick.
Yeah. And so that's like 3-4 days a week I'm doing like freelance work. So 3 of those days is like working for this creator called Ben Kaluza, who is mainly in like the kind of education space. And then there's a couple of other days like here and there where I do like short form editing for other creators and stuff like that. That's a summary of how I pay my bills, because that's what you need to do at the end of the day. It's like, you need to make money, and like, you know, that's what it is what it is.
That's a big move. Working full time for like any job, really. It doesn't have to be a creative job. A lot of people take a long time deciding whether or not they should like take the leap and try and work for themselves. How did you think you were going to like find clients, keep clients, pay the bills? What was the plan?
The original plan going into it was to actually leave Rhodes and start like a part-time job. So like doing half the week on like a salary job, and then start doing freelance on the side and slowly move into that. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I did.
It's pretty logical. I was planning to move to Melbourne as well, because I have a lot of freelance contacts that are more in kind of your space of like the videography, like social kind of workspace. I was like, cool, I can go there, work for them and everything. Ended up having to leave Rode a little bit kind of early. And so I was kind of like, fuck, what do I do? There was like this 2-week period where I was stressed out of my mind because I had like one client that was paying me a couple of $100 a week, like just editing for them. And I was like, well, this is not good.
Yeah.
So I kind of did 2 things from there, one intentional and one unintentional. The intentional one is like I reached out to a bunch of brands, went, hey, I worked for Rode. Let me make essentially like UGC content for you because I knew how to do that. I'm pretty good at it. I've got a pretty good street rep of like getting good views and stuff. So I got a couple of gigs there.
How are you reaching out to these guys?
I just like cold like email. Just like or like DM. Depends on the brand. Most of the time it's like an email because usually they have like if it's a bigger company, say like Nan Light or like Aperture, like that kind of thing. They have an email you can contact and I'll just be like, hey,
awesome.
Here's my like street rep. This is what I've made. I didn't even have a portfolio. Like I'm kind of chaotic. Do you want me to make some stuff for you? Some of them said yes. A lot of them don't ever answer you. And some of them go, no, we're good. So I think I got like 2 gigs out of that, which, you know, helped pay that period where I had to like pay rent and stuff like that. And then the way I ended up working for Ben was like non-intentional at all. So my old manager at Rode, he had gone over to England and he was working like creator partnerships, and Ben is based in England, and they kind of connected, and Ben was like, hey, I need a producer and an editor. My old manager was like, oh, Sky just quit Rode, is really good at that, and just basically recommended me for the job. And I landed that, and that's been like my main source of income since.
Wow. So you're working for a guy in England?
Yeah, so I don't work, well, technically up until tomorrow, I don't work for anyone in Australia.
Wow.
My clients are pretty much all either in England or like now starting to be in America and like Canada and stuff like that. There is one like project I'm potentially going to start working regularly on with a guy in Australia. But yeah, I just found that when I work for creators, it's a lot easier to work for people who align with your own interests.
Yes.
Because otherwise you end up doing stuff and it just kind of feels like, whatever. And that's the issue I had at Rode is I was just like pumping out stuff and I was like, this is not really a vibe. Like it's cool, but it's not what I want to do. And a lot of those creators are over in like America, especially like in that kind of, I don't know if it's the filmmaking niche. There's this like term like YouTube New Wave that is kind of thrown around. There was like the Creator Camp film festival that happened, like all that kind of space. Those creators are the ones that I'm trying to like target and like work for long term. I have completely lost my train of thought now, which is going to happen
fantastic.
a lot. But
No, that's fine. I think it's great that you actually think like globally. Most people don't. You know, like when they think of like who are my first clients going to be, you're usually thinking about who are my direct contacts, who are the businesses around the street, and to actually like expand or have that kind of mind shift to think like, man, we work online, like we can literally work for anyone, is interesting. I haven't seen that before.
It is hard in regards to time zones.
Yeah, of course.
So like I wake up at like 5:45, which is kind of scuffed. My first meeting of the day is like 6:30 a.m., which is, it's hardcore. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like trying to focus like while I'm getting talked at. Thankfully, I'm like a morning person, so it hasn't been too bad. But yeah, the plan is, and this is a little scoop for your podcast. I haven't told anyone on the internet about this yet.
I'm ready.
So
First 5 minutes.
Hot scoop.
We've got one.
I am currently getting my visa sorted for Canada. Ooh. So I'm going to move to either Toronto or Vancouver because time zone is like one thing. And then also there's like a lot of creators there that I can probably like work for.
There is.
So the plan is hopefully get that sorted this year and then move there January, February next year.
That's a cool plan. I love Canada. And all through like creatives, like I followed when I first got into photography 5-6 years ago. The first creators I followed were Chris Howe, Peter McKinnon, all in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
All
like, and like iconic.
Yeah, and all their photos are like Canada. And it just made me fall in love with the place. I'm like, this place is so picture. A lot of people say, I haven't been either, but they say it's a lot like New Zealand, like just mountains and all the landscapes that you can think of, like photographer's dream. And I can imagine because of those guys, there'd be so many creatives in that area as well.
Yeah, it's like I've got the contacts, like I've got a couple of friends over there, like it's not like I'd be going in blind, so I kind of feel very comfortable doing that. And then you mentioned the New York thing. Yeah, 100%. Like I don't think I want to live in New York at this stage. Maybe that'll change with like the political climate of America. Let's not get into that. That's like, let's just talk about that.
Yeah.
But there is part of me that's like being close to New York will probably allow me to get a lot more jobs with that, because there have been creators that I've wanted to work with and we've chatted and it just hasn't worked out because of the time zone thing.
Yep.
Because I'd love to get like I like editing, like that's predominantly what a lot of my work is.
Okay.
But I would love to get more into like the producing, like the creative. I don't quite know what the term is, but figuring all the stuff out with the creators and helping them do their work better, I guess, because that's what my brain enjoys, is like problem solving and all that. And like editing is a bit of that, but it's not. I don't think that's like the end all. That's just like the next step.
Yep. And you kind of want to help other creators in that space. That's cool. That's interesting. What do you think are like the main? There's pros and cons to everything, and I think you already touched on one with the road. But if you're trying to get into the creative industry or trying to do creative work, I think there are pros to working a full-time job and getting a job, as opposed to freelance has its own cons as well. Like it's not all great. And you've experienced both. Like, what do you think are like the highlights and the lowlights of each of those?
I think in terms of like working for a brand, so I did that for 2 years, and that was kind of like my first proper like corporate job. Like prior to that, it was just like retail and stuff. But the biggest thing about like working for that is the consistency of outputting content. Like you just have to do so much. And like, in my opinion, the best way to get good at making content, and you probably experience this, is just make a lot. Like, and I mean like a lot. And when you're working for a brand, you have to do that. The downside of that is you have to do that. And sometimes there's days where you don't want to do that. It can get quite hard after a long period of time because you are essentially making the same kind of stuff. And then there is also that element of, like, especially for me, I would consider myself somewhat of an artist. And so like when I go to a brand, I'm like, you have one vision, I have one vision, and I have to compromise my vision for yours. And that's hard, and it kind of sucks. And there's a part of me that wants to be able to do my own thing. And when you're working full time, you don't have time to do your own thing. I don't know if I can speak much on freelance because I'm doing it for like 5 months. I guess it's a bit of time.
What have you found?
But like, it's like the flip side of that. It's like I have so much more time. Like I do like 3-4 days a week, you know, working for freelance stuff, and then like the other 3 days are like my own stuff. Like I don't have free time. That's a myth. But there is also that element of like worry and everything. Like I think I'm very lucky in the fact that I have been able to get retainers. So I know where my like weekly income is coming from. I'm kind of in the period where I'm like looking at some other creators and thinking, okay, how can I figure out how to make all these work? Because I want to work with these people, but it's not necessarily regular income. And that's like really scary. So yeah, it's like you win some, you lose some. I don't think there's ever like a perfect balance. It's just like, what's the best balance for you in that point in time?
That's
good.
That was really good. Everything you said was spot on. I've done basically the freelance thing for 4 or 5 years now, and everything you just summarized in like that you learned in 5 months is like all the things that I've had to go through for 5 years. But you're totally right. And I think it is constantly and continually trying to balance that out, because we change, our interests change, especially as creatives. Like we may want to do something today, but as we start making things, we're like, okay, I've done this enough. I really want to explore something else. And then you're constantly trying to rebalance that whole structure. And even working with clients, there are times where you love working with this client, but then because we're limited with time, if we want to explore other things, like for me, podcasting was something I didn't do 2 years ago. And now I've had to make a whole lot of time for podcasting, as well as balance out all the other things I want to do, plus try and create for myself, which has been non-existent until about like 2 months ago.
Damn,
Yeah, and for me, big struggle. I almost get it's frustration that I'm constantly working for clients and constantly making videos and content for everyone else. And then at the end of every week, there is like no time left to make any content for me, which I don't know, sounds a bit like selfish or whatnot, but you need that like creative outlet where you can do whatever you want with like no limitations, no people, like no one needs to approve what I'm making. You know, it's like we got into this because we enjoy creating. And we want to create for ourselves. And so many times it's like you've got all these boundaries when someone's like paying you, and because they're paying you, you have to do it their way. And at the end of it, you're submitting something that isn't really your authentic work.
No, it's their work at the end of the day.
And because they're paying for it, that's fair. Like that's what they get. That's what it is, right? And I think a lot of people struggle because they don't understand that. Like when in the first year, maybe the first 2 years of me working with clients, they'd pay me and I would just make what I thought was cool. And then some of them wouldn't like it. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is cool. And it took me a while for my brain to kind of be like, oh, they're paying and they've got ideas and they've got a team. They've paid people to put together ideas. And my job is just to bring those ideas to life. It's not to inject what I think is cool and any of my ideas. It's more to bring those ideas to life. That's my only job. And that's why they're paying me. And maybe I can suggest certain things because I have experience. But at the end of the day, you have to give what they want.
Yeah.
And if I want to create the things that I want, I need to make time to do it outside of paid work. And I realize this, it's just making that time's been difficult. Over the last 2 to 3 months, I've forced myself to make time. Thank you.
Good.
And it cost me, I had to get rid of clients. Like I got rid of like 2 bigger clients because of everything that you just said. I was like, I'm working for these 2 clients and it's just not fulfilling. Like I'm doing work that doesn't really, like I'm not that interested in it. I'm doing it because they pay me well. But I know also if I make the time to create my own work, I'm going to be more fulfilled. And by sharing this, I'll attract people and clients that want to also make this type of work, meaning I should get clients at the end of this that are more aligned with what I like.
Yeah.
So the scary part as a freelancer is like learning what to say no to make room for work that you actually want to do. But it's, again, a balance.
Yeah, it's like, this is just a game of balance at the end of the day. Yeah. There was a distinct compromise when I left Road. I was like, I don't want to be working 5 days a week for someone else.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I know that's not the case. And like, look, I could be making probably a lot more money if I worked 5 days a week for other clients. But yeah, I think I would rather, and I think this is the journey you're going through. It's like, I'd rather sacrifice the income for the sake of being able to make the stuff that I want, like, which is art at the end of the day. I think that's because we're artists. Like we have such a drive to do that. And like, the thing I really struggled with Road is like, I felt so empty, like creatively, because I wasn't able to make my own stuff. And that's like, I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think that's the nature of being a creative, is that you love doing this and come hell or high water, like you're going to do it, you know? So like,
yeah. And the reason you got into it in the first place, because you love doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, I think there's like 2 things. It's like, if you don't love doing it, you're probably not going to be able to do it like forever. Yeah. Because like, it's a job at the end of the day and jobs get boring. Like, yeah, I had another point and I completely forgot it.
I've spoken to creatives and they do end up in a place where they're working for a client, or that, you know, they've got a job and they're doing creative work, but they're not enjoying it. And they start to question everything. Like, am I really meant to be a creative? It's like, no, man, you're just in the wrong environment. You're just doing the wrong creative work. But it messes with your head because you think, oh, am I really made for this? I should be enjoying this. Like, I was working this other completely different job and all I wanted to do was be a creative, and now I am and I'm not enjoying it. And it makes you think that this isn't what you were made to do, when really you may just be like doing the wrong type of creative work.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I found like, I'm kind of like in negotiations to like start working with some other creators, and I'm trying to like get that job because I know their content aligns more with like what I like to produce and also what I care about producing. And I'm like, if I can bring them on as like a bigger client and kind of step back from other stuff, like I can kind of make this balance even better. Like there's some days like where I'll edit stuff and I'll finish it and it's for the client. I'm like, I freaking love this. Like, it's great. Like I'm pumped about this. Like, and it's really exciting. Yeah.
That's exactly where you want to be.
And there's other days where I'm not like that.
but that's,
you got to do the hard yards. Like you got to, sometimes you have to like grit your teeth and because you got to pay bills.
Exactly. Well, you have to pay bills. And I don't think we kind of also want to make like working for clients suck, because you can find clients that align with the type of work that you want to do. Like there are times I make work for clients and I'm like, this is so good, like so good. And that's when you feel like these are my guys. And when you do find those clients, like you have to do everything you can to kind of like make these guys happy and find ways to work continuously. Like those retainers with clients that you love is the sweet spot.
It's amazing.
You know,
I cannot believe I managed to get a retainer like 2 weeks after leaving my job.
So good.
I'm kind of still shocked. But
you were very proactive. I think that's something that is important to note.
Yeah, there's this element that I didn't realize I was doing it at the time, but when I was like at Road, like I was networking like a motherfucker.
Yep. Like, with attitude, man.
It was just like, they're like and especially this is like especially in the creator space, because for me that's where I want to be, like that's where I want to work. So I would just like cold DM a bunch of creators and just be like, hey, I love your work, like I'd love to chat sometime. And I've talked to mostly from America, but like a bunch of creators there, and then that has kind of led to these like opportunities, because people are like, oh, I know Sky, like you're looking for editor, oh, Sky's an editor. Even though I am, at the end of the day, like I'm not really that big, like I have a pretty small following, like that's not going to get me work very much. But knowing these other creators and then also having like brand contacts and stuff like that, like knowing people across the country, like it's been so helpful. Yeah, I think people underestimate how big networking can be as a freelancer, because you just, jobs just keep coming. Like I've had to say no to stuff because I'm like, I don't have time, sorry, but I want to work with you. So
such a good place to be in, but it is because you're like behind the scenes, the things that aren't seen. It takes work, you know, and these are important to note. A lot of people, like you can't think that just like posting your work and sitting there, people are just going to come to you. No. You have to be proactive and you have to make these connections. And again, you're looking at the States and other places. Like I think the internet allows us to do so much that we're still like, we don't take on its full potential when it comes to things like that.
I don't think even I do at this stage. Like I think there's way more people I could probably reach out to now and start working with, but I'm still a little bit shy. I'm like, I feel it's like this weird line between like, I want to be respectful that you are a big creator and you probably get a lot of messages, but I also want to talk to you and work with you. So it's like kind of find that
balancing
balance.
that out. Like reaching and being like, this guy probably gets a ton of messages. How do
I know 100% they probably all of them do the ones that reach out.
Of course.
But you know.
Yep. When you were talking about like, I want to make work that I enjoy and that I like, I think it takes a while when you're first starting out to figure out what you do like. How did you go about finding out like what's the type of content you like doing?
It's still a journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders if this never finishes. I think you just get better at figuring out. But for me, it was very much a game of just post heaps of different types of content. So like this is going back like maybe like 3-4 years now. Like when I first, because I started on YouTube, because like short form, when I started going to content land, short form wasn't as much of a thing. So like on YouTube, like my first 2 videos that are not there anymore, but like were gaming videos. And then I made some like cooking videos and I was like, okay, cool, this isn't it. When I was at Rode, I did 6 months of like short form tech content. I posted 3 times a week. I don't know what I was on, but like, but I did that.
Got into me?
And then I went, oh no, I don't like doing this.
Cool.
And then even like within, like that was kind of the macro experimentation. And then like the micro experimentation has been within that like filmmaking niche. I've been like, okay, cool, I'll try these different styles. Like at the start of this year, I tried vlogging, like just straight vlogging, kind of like Tutski does. And I went, not really for me. And now I've kind of landed in this place where it's like a hybrid between making movies, which is something that I love, and like also vlogging and trying to like marry those two together. But it's like every time I make a video, I'm like, okay, cool, let me try something new, try something different. And if I don't like it, cool, I'll still make it and do a good job. But next time I won't do that. Or if I do like it, I'll do more of that. Because it's like, it's just experimentation. Just try so many different things.
And it comes with volume, right? Like the more you make, the more, like if you learn one little thing from each video and you're making as many as you have, you can't, it's almost like you can't not improve. Like it doesn't make sense.
No. If you're making stuff and not improving, I'm not sure how that would work. But it's like even just taking my like presence on camera in public. Because like when I'm like inside at home, like I'm pretty comfortable on camera. But when I first started making YouTube, this is probably like 8-9 months ago, I was terrified out of my mind. I tried filming outside.
Most people are.
In like, it wasn't Georgia, it was like Darling Square area. And I had like a literal anxiety attack. I was like, no, I can't do this. And now I can walk through that same place, hold it on the camera. I'm like, it's fine. Just because I've done it so many times. I know like it was hard to like push myself out of that comfort zone. Like it's so hard. But the more you do it, the better you get. Like it's just.
But that's hard on another level though. Like that's really difficult to do. I think what's great about watching, especially your YouTube channel, is you're very open with these things. There's a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness. And I think that it helps a viewer out a lot, especially if you're creative, because a lot of people are going through those same emotions. And to see someone going through it and explaining how they feel makes you feel like what you're feeling is okay and normal, just so you know. Like that's what I felt from watching your videos. But I did watch that video that you're talking about specifically, and you said that like you were creating in your room for a very long time. And what you did say in there was like the process of creating in your room felt empty. And the story of your life doesn't just happen in your room. And you did. Damn. And you felt that you needed to put yourself out there. If you don't put yourself out there, you might never get the chance to do what you love. Okay, like this is a lot of realizing what you need to do in order to get to your goals, right? To even have a chance of possibly reaching your goals, you have to overcome this obstacle that you know is only there because of fear. Like you're very aware of this. You were just saying, like, when I do something, if I don't like it, I just won't do it the next time. I'm sure most people, when they first film in public, don't like it.
Yeah, okay, maybe I shouldn't
So
have
we're
said
like,
that.
no, it's fine, because this is a good thing, because it's a balance of the two. They're both right. You know, like when I make a video, I'll look back and I'm like, I should have improved on that, could have improved on that. I really like that. I can do that again. However, it's something that we are very aware of, like my presence on camera, like if I want to get to where I want to be, I need to, same as this podcast, like if I want this to go anywhere, I need to be confident in front of the camera.
100%.
I need to be better, and it's uncomfortable and I don't enjoy it. Like the first few times I was on here, I was like, man, this is so hard.
Sweating.
Yeah, I'm freaking out, but I need to force myself to overcome this obstacle if I want to have any chance of this becoming anything. And you went through that in terms of filming in public. Very hard to do because I can't do it. I've tried, and it's just like mental hurdle. It's like, why do I think so many people care when really no one does?
Yeah.
Can you talk us like through that? Like what were like some tips that you'd give someone who's trying to get to that point? Because now I've seen your videos recently, man, and you're just out middle of like, there's people walking around everywhere and you're just looking straight at the camera going, I don't care what anyone here thinks. You're not trying to hide in your room or in a corner where there's no one. And that comes across like there's confidence in that. It really does look like you've reached another level when you see those early videos compared to your more recent ones. How do you think you've improved?
Yeah, I'm trying to like, I want to make a video about this.
Yeah.
Like whenever I go through these journeys, I'm like, I want to make videos about this because I love being like super genuine and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really struggling with like, how did I make this happen? I think there's the secret that I still get really freaked out by it. Like obviously like when you look on camera, like it's just me like staring at the camera, be like, hey, what's up guys? Like, except not like cringe like that. But there is the element where before I set up the camera, before on the press record, I have to like, it's almost like centering myself. Like it's like, okay, cool. I know what I need to say, like going into that.
Yep.
I think as well, like one really big thing that helped was learning how I talk on camera, which it's a weird thing to learn like how you sound because like I think I sound pretty much the same I do on camera as I do in real life to some extent, like maybe a little more heightened, but like learning how my voice sounds and knowing how that should be, I can then kind of almost play a character that is also myself because like my background like creatively, like I used to be in like a bunch of stage productions, improv, that kind of thing, so I'm very used to being on stage, and so I kind of try and treat it the same way when I'm talking to the camera. It's like I'm playing a character, but that character is then myself being me. Like
no, that's
kind of a
fair.
weird thing, but honestly, it's just like exposure therapy, I think is the term a lot of people use. It's just like getting in the reps. Like, yeah, it sucks. And it will suck for a long time. Like it sucked for like 6 months, but it's like every single video I would try, go out, shoot a little bit outside. And each time I would try and shoot bigger and bigger segments in the video outside.
Okay.
And just, it's like slowly, gradually do it more and more. Like don't go out and try and shoot your whole video outside. I think that would be an absolute disaster and it wouldn't end very well.
Never want to do it again.
Basically it's, you need to learn how to push yourself to like find where your limit is, push a little bit further each time you make something. And keep doing that. But the important thing is like, even if you make something that you think is bad, you still got to post it. Like there's this weird like psychology that I don't know if everyone's like this, but I definitely am, where if I don't post something, I don't then improve on the stuff I made a mistake because no one's seen it. So I don't need to get any better.
True.
But like if I post the videos, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point.
No,
who cares?
it's very good.
But if I post the videos, it's like, I know people are going to see it and I know next time I have to do better than that. And that then pushes me. I think as well, like the one kind of final element is like, I have like a really strong drive. Like I have a dream of one day being able to make majority of my income off probably YouTube, making like films about my life on there.
Awesome.
And I don't like, it's like that line that you read out. It's like, if I don't do it now, I might not even get the chance. Like there was that moment where I was like, oh shit, I need to get like my act together and do this. And that drive has just like pushed me through a lot of this fear as well.
True. There's a very similar fear in terms of like recording yourself in public. There's also the fear of like posting in public as well. That same fear of like, what are people going to think of me when I post this? And I went through that when I had a mentor about 4 years ago. I had her on the show. She was my last guest actually, and she forced me to post a video about myself, and it terrified me. And there was that same fear of like, what are people going to think? And all the posts I'd done previously was just client work, like other people. I was never in it. And when she saw my page, she's like, dude, where are you? Like, you're nowhere on this page. You have to. And she's like, by the next time I speak to you, I need to have seen a post by you, your face, and I want you to talk for at least 2 minutes, introducing yourself, telling people who you are. And it terrified me in that same way of like just speaking in public. And it was I'm scared of what people are going to think of me. And overcoming that is probably like one of the biggest obstacles I've overcome that's created the most opportunities for me moving forward. There are a million other things, but I feel like that's been the biggest unlock for me. Something that you said at the end of that video, that one that I was speaking about, is that you still do care what people think about.
So much.
Yeah, but
much.
You've just learned to ignore that feeling.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like I've done that too. I do not care at all. I will post I never look back at it. I still see, because I work with clients and I work with a lot of people that do put themselves in front of camera for the first time, I watch them go through those first few steps that I went through, and they're being very analytical and overthinking them. Like they're literally watching, like, oh, can we change this? Can we change that? My hair looks funny in that clip. My posture looks a bit weird. And I think like you need to just let it go and just post.
Yeah.
There's this not overthink it and be such a perfectionist.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm like a massive perfectionist. This is something I really struggle with. But yeah, it's like you at the start, when you're like starting that process of like either like going out in public or just like putting yourself on camera, it's like just get the reps in. Like it doesn't matter what you're creating. There's like another video, I can't remember which one it is, but I think I have a line in it. It's like, if you post bad stuff, no one's going to see it anyway. So it's like, just post bad stuff.
Yeah, especially early on, right? It's like, this is your chance to mess up as much as you can.
Exactly. And mess up now so that you can be better later. Because mistakes are like the best way to learn. Just getting those like consistent reps in at the start. Like you're basically describing this journey in your own thing. It's like, you just do it a lot and you get good and then you get comfortable. But you should worry about getting comfortable and being yourself on camera before you worry about everything else. Like I know I have a bit of weird background because I come from like the film industry. Like that's where I like did a lot of my study. And so like my like technical level was probably higher than my on camera level was. And I've kind of had to catch up with the on camera stuff and kind of bring those both up. But when you're first starting, just like, just get your iPhone out, just like shoot something. And I know it's such like a generic advice, but legitimately it's like works so well. And I think people overlook that a lot and often look for like easy ways around that. But you just got to grit your teeth, just do it.
True. And it's also, I follow this Asian guy. I know his first name's Vin, and he's a communication expert.
I feel like I've seen him before.
He pops up everywhere now. He puts out like great content, like great. And he's a communication coach. He's like, this is how you're meant to like learn how to speak in public. This is how you overcome all the little fears that we have. And every time he pops up, I'm listening. Like he's got me. He's got me good. There's always good lessons in what he's teaching. There's great value. And one of them that he's shared recently is like, he was asked like, if I change my voice or when I speak in camera, I feel like I'm not being myself. And
I think I might have seen this clip.
And they feel like they're acting. It's like, I don't want to feel like I'm acting. And he says like, your voice is an instrument and you just haven't been taught how to use it. You've got ideas in your head and you've got thoughts and opinions and you want to share them properly. And in order to share them properly, like what's in your head, you need to learn how to use this instrument that helps you communicate. And he was like, imagine your voice is like a piano that has 88 keys. And your whole life, you've only been using 5 of those keys. But if you don't learn how to use this instrument, you're not going to be able to communicate the way you want to communicate. And it's like, you've just got to take the time to learn how to use the instrument. That's it.
Basically.
And we put ourselves in front of the camera and we think we suck because we don't know how to use this instrument that we've never been taught how to use properly. And I thought that was like a really good way to see it. I think it's just perspective and realizing, like I just need to learn how to communicate better.
Yeah. I guess it's like, with like video, like photo, like you need to learn how to shoot before you can shoot well. Like it's the same thing. I think a lot of people, because it's not like this really like technical like thing you can grab your hands around, a lot of people just expect to be good. I feel like, I think that's what I did, definitely. But it's like, no, it's another tool in your toolkit as like a filmmaker or a creator. Like, you just have to learn, and you just have to do it a lot to learn and get better.
But you also have to be intentional with wanting to improve at that. You seem to be someone that does that. That same dude was like saying, like, you can analyze, you can look back at these videos that you make and you can see where you can improve. And his tips were like, turn the volume off and just watch yourself talk and see if you like fidget and if you move around. Like, automatically you're going to find like 5 things that you can improve on with your presentation on camera. Then don't watch anything at all and just listen to yourself speak, like hear it back. And you'll hear whether you and are a lot, or some people say like all the time. But you'll be able to pick those things out because you're just listening.
Yeah.
And then his last tip was like, have a script, write everything you just said down and look at it on a piece of paper. And then you'll be able to see where you're just rambling, where you're just repeating yourself over and over again. And you can really improve on these things. It's not something that you can look at and be like, I'm just not good at it. It's not for me. Like, if you take the time and you're intentional with improving, you can become a lot better.
Yeah. Like, if you, there's a video, I think it's like my keyboard build video, which I think is like the oldest one I have still up on my channel. Like, you watch that and it's like, it's shocking with like the talking and stuff. But it's like kind of weird because you can see the elements of my personality that are still there, like, and here now, but it's like, my ability to do that has like gotten way, way better.
Yeah. But it's good to look back at those old videos, right? You're like, man, you don't think so?
Sometimes I look back at some of the other stuff I did and I'm like, that's really cringe and I never want to watch this again. But I guess that's good because it means you're getting better.
Exactly.
If you look back and you're like, it's the same, then
that's a problem, right? Yeah. When I look back at video, I rarely do it, but when I do, I'm like, oh, man, that's so, like, it makes me feel good. I'm like, I've improved. And I think if they're not getting better, that's something to be concerned about. Now, with your we've been talking about your YouTube channel. When did you first post your first YouTube video to this current channel?
August 4th, 2015.
2015.
Yeah. The day after my birthday. Now, I'm not very good at remembering things. The reason I know this is because it's a line in one of my videos. I don't know if it was the last one or not, but it's like, oh no, it was the one before the one I just posted. I remember saying this line on camera. So this is the only reason I remember this date. I'm not like some crazy psycho. And it was a very, and I quote my video, a very bad short film that I had just made because like at that time I was just, that's what I thought like making videos was making films. It was about this girl who finds a camera and whenever she takes a photo, there's someone in the photos, but not in real life.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's about it. That's like all.
That's about it. That's a cool idea.
No like conflict, no resolution. It just kind of happens.
It's just a cool idea.
No, I think I stole it from someone. Like, I'm pretty sure I ripped off another video and then made it, but like worse.
I made it, but I made it worse.
But yeah, so there was like, that was like when I was in high school back then, because I graduated 2017, and there was like a couple of like short films and stuff then, but then like there was a big gap until I like did the gaming videos that I mentioned.
Yep. When was that?
I'll have to check.
Years? Are we talking years ago?
I think so. Let me like, because I still have them all like private on my channel. No, you're not allowed to watch them.
And what were you doing? Were you reviewing games? Were you playing?
It was a Minecraft gameplay.
Okay.
So it was posted 4 years ago.
Wow.
And then prior to that, the last short film, which was my like HSE one, was 7 years.
Wow.
So it was like a 3-year gap where I wasn't really.
That's okay. And these were all posted on this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Right,
I've always posted on the same accounts. I've never had, like, I did have a personal Instagram account, but I didn't post content there.
Okay.
It's always been the one that you see, or like my YouTube channel.
Yeah. So you started posting 10 years ago. You started
posting is a strong word. I think I threw stuff at the wall and prayed.
But it started then. I saw you post a video 7 months ago saying that you had just reached 1,000 subscriptions, 1,000 subs. So it took you 10 years to get there.
Yeah.
That was 7 months ago. Today you're almost at 5,000.
I know. I'm like, what?
What's happened? What do you think has been the shift?
Honestly, putting in the work. I had this like realization the other day. It's like, it's funny how when you put in like effort to stuff, it does better. But no, I think it was a combination of a number of things. I think like when I started posting again, like consistently, and you can probably, can't remember what the first video was, but there was a kind of a point where I started posting again consistently.
What made you decide to do that? What was like?
I was at Road and I was like, oh, I'm like good at this now.
Yep.
Like, or at least I thought I was. I wasn't actually, but there was a moment I was like, okay, I can do this. I want to do this like full time. Okay, I got to do this, you know?
Yeah.
It was that kind of realization. And so I think the kind of the things that have helped me get from like, I think I was like at like 500 subscribers maybe when I started like consistently posting, was like the skills I'd learned at Rode, because I had learned like so much, like even just on camera, like my time at Rode, you look at the first video, it's still up, I think on the Instagram account at Rode, and like, it's shocking. So it's like that, my like technical ability had gotten a lot better. Like I could now shoot in like log, I knew how to light stuff, like all these things. But then I think just like locking in and trying to be consistent and actually trying to make videos that I wanted to watch. There's this really good line that it's not mine. I think it's by Colt Cohen, if you've ever heard of him.
I have.
I'm pretty sure he said it, but it's like when you start like making videos, you want to try and make the stuff you want to see on the internet, not make the stuff that's already been put on there. Now, I understand that I have a couple of videos that are like kind of vague on that, but most of my stuff, it's like, it's reflections on my life and my journey. And I'm like, I want like other creators to watch that and be like, oh yeah, like this is hard. And like, I relate to that and kind of thing. But yeah, I think just finally, it's like locking in and just like trying to give it an honest to God shot. And I think like, as I've done it, like I have gotten better, and you can kind of see like the views have kind of gone like, like that. But yeah, I think there's still a long way to go, but
You're on the right trajectory.
Somewhat, yes. I think there's still, like, I think my videos in themselves are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're amazing, but I think they're pretty good. The thing I struggle with at the moment is like YouTube as a platform is very unique, because like, as we were talking about before we started, you got to worry about that first 30 seconds. You got to worry about the title, and you got to worry about the thumbnail. Colin and Samir talk about this a lot. Like I watch so much of their videos on this subject because those three things are so important, because you can make the best video, and I make videos that I love, but they don't have those three things and they do really badly because of it.
Well, if no one clicks on it, no one gets to see.
Yeah. If no one clicks, no one watches, and then you gotta like respect their time, like all these things. And so now like I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, cool. I know what kind of videos I want to keep making. Like that'll change, but I know the direction. I know that I can make good videos. I know that I'm pretty good on camera. Like I can talk, I can script and stuff. Okay, cool. Let's figure out this like YouTube platform now. Okay. And so like I spent like, I was like upside down on the floor for like 2 hours last night looking at thumbnails and trying to like think about why do they work? Like, what do I want to do? Like, how do I find this balance like between like the really like hyper realistic ones like Mr. Beast does, or like Life of Rizzo, Colt Cohen, like their ones that like that's where I want to sit. But it's like, how do I do that? How do I make that work? And so that's the next kind of challenge that I want to take on over the next 6 months, to kind of keep that trajectory going. Because I think like, if you look at my last 2 videos, I actually thought about them a lot before before I thought about the thumbnail and title, and they have done better than my other stuff did. I think that's partially because
only
of that.
Recently you've started putting more thought into thumbnail title.
Before that, I was just like not screenshotting, but pulling a still from the video.
Of course.
And the title would kind of be like, whatever, like whatever I'm feeling. Whereas now, when I go to make a video, so I'm starting to write the next one. I should probably be further along, but here we are. I'm here recording the podcast instead. So
priorities.
It's fine. Well, yeah, you know. But it's like, before I start writing the whole thing, I'll have the idea for the video, and then I go, okay, cool. What's the initial title I have? Let me write like 10 more. And then I'll look at those and I'll go, okay, these ones could work. Let me sit with those. Think about the thumbnail as well. That's like, the thumbnail is like the hardest thing for me, because it's not something I learned at Rode. Like, it's not ingrained in my brain. So I'm basically starting from zero at this point. But yeah, think about the thumbnail, the title. Okay, cool. I've got those locked in. Okay, now let's do the first 30 seconds of the video. Like, what's that going to look like? And I don't know if I'm going to always follow that like really structured approach of like the first 30 seconds, like establish the story, everything like that. There are times where I want to make stuff like a movie, and movies don't always start with like a bunch of exposition. You know, you've watched stuff. And so it's like, some videos I will, some videos I don't. But if I am going to worry about that, okay, cool, write the first 30 seconds. Okay, cool, now I'm going to write the rest of the video. I spend a lot of time on like pre-production of my stuff. Like I would say it's more than a third of making the video.
Okay.
The shortest bit is probably actually shooting it. Like funnily enough, it's like pre-production, shooting it, editing it, and like editing. I also do a like kind of post-production, I guess is the right, or like where I like reformat stuff, figure it out, maybe go back and reshoot. But yeah, that's like where I'm at with like my process, I guess.
So the bulk of it would you say is in pre-production or post?
Pre-production, 100%. I don't write every single thing that I say. There's some bits I do write if I want to like really get it nicely done. There's other bits where I'll like dot point it. So in my last like camera video, I wrote the bits that I wanted to shoot outside when I was in the Blue Mountains, and then that voiceover at the end. I didn't actually write that until I filmed everything else, and I made it later. But I had like dot points of like the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts that I wanted to share. It was like, I know I want to leave the viewer with this idea of like, the perfect camera is the one that brings you joy, but I didn't know what the spiel leading up to that was in the voiceover until I like finished shooting and stuff. But yeah, it's like finding that balance between saying what you want to and saying it like yourself. Because if I script everything, I don't sound like me all the time. Like it's a really fine line, but
no, I agree. I'm the same, but I'm big on scripting too. I've heard a guy say like, I like scripting because I want to communicate my thoughts properly. Like, and a lot of people when they are on camera, they just ramble or they're not really direct with what they're trying to say. And then they look back, they're like, man, I could have said that so much better. Whereas like when you can write it out and you can really take out all the rubbish and be very specific with what you're trying to get across. So I think, there are times where scripting I think is valuable and it helps push the story along the right way.
There's like this interesting process that I really love to do where I'll kind of break, this kind of happens simultaneously, but I'll break the video down into like the sections. Like what are the emotional and like story points that I want to hit throughout it? And then I'll find the music for those sections.
Yes.
That's like the first thing I do is like finding the music. And that takes me so long.
But like you do a really good job with your music, I've noticed. Like you use it intentionally to change the pacing and the feeling of your videos. Like it's very obvious to me when I see it.
It's like a movie. Really good Movies do that. Like that's what I like. At the end of the day, like I want to make stuff that feels like a movie. And it's like I want that music.
No, totally.
But yeah, then I'll have that music for that section. If there's talking or like there's like shots and stuff, I'll listen to that song like on repeat, and I'll just like write the whole section out to that music. And that really helps me, like, as you're saying, like hit those emotional beats.
Yep.
Because I'm just listening to the same thing, whether it's like a depressing like piano song or like upbeat like soul music. And so in what I've done in Epidemic Sound, because that's like the platform I use, not sponsored, but we should be, is I've like curated like multiple playlists for different moods.
Yes.
So when I go to write, I don't always use stuff in those playlists, but I got like a starting point where I can go, okay, I want this bit to be angry. Okay, I'm going to go to my angry playlist and like listen to all the songs and go,
That's
okay,
great.
I like that. Let's go, and then go down a rabbit hole from there.
You can tell that you're using music as a tool. I tried to make this terrible vlog years back. It was about 3 years ago, and it was not knowing the use or the power of music in a video, and I just thought everything just needed music, and it was just music that I liked. I'm like, this is a song I like. I'll just put, and I felt like everything was just made better with music in the background, and it was terrible because of it. And that's something that I've learned over time, is that you can really use it to change the pace and change the feeling of a video and tell a better story. It might have been one of these videos too, where I saw you were reflecting, and it was a really like serious part of the video, and there's no music at all. It's just you talking, and then it would cut into just a really high beat song, like really up tempo,
like
and the feeling of the video completely changes, and then it helps change the pace, change the tone, and take the viewer to the next part of the video. It pushes it forward. And you can really notice it. And I think that it shows that you're really intentional with how you're putting these together. You're not just throwing together
No.
you know, songs that you like, you know.
Which I think is why I take so long to make them. Like I would love to be at the point where I could make weekly videos, but the reality is, because I'm essentially like, I'm not creating these stories, like I am living them to some extent, but I need time for them to develop and manifest. Like a lot of the time I will actually get most of my ideas like outside that writing period, like for the actual like structure stuff. So like when I run, when I'm in the shower, like when my mind is empty, like that's where most of the thinking happens. And you can't force that kind of creativity. It's really annoying. I wish I could, but yeah, you just gotta make stuff when you can, and that's something I really struggle with, like, because a lot of people on YouTube, they're consistent, and consistency does better, and like I don't think I'll ever get to the point where it's like one video a year. Like I want to be posting at least like 2 a month. I think it's like my like gold standard. And if I do more, sweet. If I don't, whatever.
Yep.
But there is part of me that's like, I feel bad for not posting consistently, because I think, I'm not going to be successful if I don't post consistently. But then I look at other creators who don't, and I'm like, oh, if your stuff is good enough and you're putting a lot of work into it, it usually can work. But
true. It is a bit of a balance of, I want to post consistently, but I also want to post something that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like you're going to find creators in both sections here. Like you can easily find creators that post consistent and you're like, oh, well, that's why they're doing well. But then you're also going to find creators that are posting every 3 months and who are also doing well. So it's like just finding what works for you. Again, all of this is just balance.
There's this really good rule that I love as a perfectionist. I call it and I don't think I made this term up, so I'm not going to claim that I did, but it's called the 80% rule. Every video that I make is 80% complete. That last like 20% like finishing touches, I don't ever do it.
Yep.
There's times where I have edited a video all the way through. I will export and just upload it. I won't watch it back.
Yep.
Which is kind of wild and kind of dangerous. Hasn't backfired yet. But it's like that idea of like, okay, cool. I'm going to get this to like 85% completion. Once I start like nitpicking it, okay, cool. I'm going to hands off. I'm posting it. Because it doesn't matter.
That because you can play that game forever.
100%.
You really
and I have.
So yeah. And then that sets you back. That sets you back from being consistent, and 99% of people aren't even going to notice that change anyway.
Yeah. Once you get people watching, once you get people past that first minute, like if your stuff isn't as like, obviously you can't have like a massive drop in quality, but if it's not like amazing, if it's not like Martin Scorsese, like no one cares. Like they're already invested in the video. They're going to watch it. So like stop stressing.
I agree. And the way that I kind of overcame that, I'd like to know what you think about this, is like mine is just feeling. Like there are all these little things that I could probably change if I look back at this, but I'm like, if I make this change, is it going to change the feeling? Like, am I still communicating the feeling that I want with this video? And if it is, then I'm like, why am I changing it?
Yeah, it's like, it's either feeling or message. Those are like the two things for me. Because like, sometimes I want to convey like an emotion a bit. Sometimes I want to convey like a message. I think a lot of my videos end with like a reflection that I want the viewers to like take away. And so it's like, cool, if I've got that across, and I think I've got that across successfully, then, it's done its job.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's done its job.
There was, I think it's Van Neistat. I watch a lot of creators like talking about videos, but I think he said that like the whole point of making videos is to get the viewer to the end. And I really love that idea. It's like, yeah, cool. You've got this whole story and you want to get them to the end so you can leave them with that one thought. And if you do that, cool, you've done your job.
Yep.
Like
totally. When it comes to your ideas, I think there's a probably 3 categories here. Are you creating for yourself? Are you thinking of like, what do you like and what do you want to make? Are you thinking of the audience? Like what's the audience going to like? Because they could be different. They may not align. Or what may the algorithm like? And all 3 answers could be different. Do you struggle with that? And when you come up with video ideas, what are you thinking of? What do you think wins out of the 3 most times when you're coming up with video ideas?
Yeah, so my like video like ideation process is like I just have a Notion board.
Yep.
And as soon as I have an idea, it'll just go in there. Like and most of the time I won't put like a date to it or anything. But like I have like I don't know how many ideas, like maybe like 50 to 100 ideas in there that I may never make, but I just throw everything in there. And a lot of those are based around like either like personal stuff like I've gone through. Like I have like with me moving to Canada, I have like an idea for a video about that. I'm like, cool, there's this story here of moving overseas. Like I know there's going to be something I'm going to learn and like go through. I'm going to make a video about that. So there's like the kind of life story part, and then there's like the education part. So like say like I've made like a pre-production kind of video. It didn't do very well, but it's kind of like talking about like my process through that. Those videos are like, sorry, I'm gonna start again.
That's okay.
So the life story ones start as like, okay, this is my idea. This is a story that I want to tell and I want to talk about. How do I then package the first bit for YouTube and kind of like marry those two together? The education ones are like, cool, I like teaching people that stuff. Like I love it. Cool. How do I do that and make it then sound like me, like with my perspective? So it kind of, they start like one starts with my personal perspective, one starts with the algorithm / audience, and then I try and like meet in the middle. which is a bit of a cop out, I know, but like that's
it's good.
how it works because I want to balance
of course.
both.
Yep.
Like I don't ever want to just make stuff for the algorithm because that would be.
Yep.
Then I just end up making Mr. Beast videos at the end of the day. Let's be honest. So.
Yeah, and then you almost end up in that same situation where back when you're creating for clients who,
Yep.
you know, it's work that you don't feel fulfilled by. You're now working for the algorithm basically, which puts you in a similar situation.
Yeah, there's also this like concept that I've been mulling over in my head because we're seeing this especially in short form content where it's all the same at this point. Like we've figured out how that platform works. Like everything is the same, and the creators that are doing well aren't doing the same things. Like generally they're doing new stuff. Like if they're long term successful, like obviously there's virality and like people go, but the people who are long term successful, it's because they did something else and they made it their thing.
Yes,
and so. When I approach like YouTube, I'm like, I don't want to just copy what everyone else has done because then I'm just going to be like everyone else and I won't be able to stand out. Like it probably will be harder to go through this process and figure out my unique thing that makes my videos pop and like makes them worth watching. But if I can do that, then boom, there's my success right there.
Yes.
So
the more I watch creators and like the ones that I follow, they've like injected their personality and their own personal interests. And I think to me, that's what sets them apart when it comes to this space, you know, because it's like, you may all be doing the same thing. I can think of like a handful of creators that I follow and I'm like, they're making the same types of videos as everyone else, but I like watching them because I connect, because I know that they like this, this, and this. And I also like that, which are like totally irrelevant. Like one guy likes sneakers. And I'm like, I love sneakers. I used to make content for sneakers and stuff. So it's like those connections, even though they're speaking about, like he could give a review on an iPhone, which is like the same as I could watch 100 other videos doing the same thing. But I'll listen to him because like I feel connected to that guy because we have similar interests. And we only reached that point because he was willing to share his personality and his other interests in his content. How much of that do you think plays a role in like what you're doing? Like, do you think that's something that could set you apart from having your work looks too similar to other people? Because like there's only one Sky, so the more Sky you can include in your videos, the better. But then I know that some people kind of are afraid of oversharing and.
Yeah, I had someone ask me about that, like how much should you share on camera? And I was like, for me, I share almost like 90% of my life. Like there's 10% that I don't talk about on camera. Like that is personal stuff and that always be personal.
I think it's good to have those boundaries and knowing where they are.
But like in terms of like most of the personal stuff, like that stuff that it's not me. It's like other people are going through things and I am supporting them.
Correct.
But like in terms of the stuff I'm going through, like I will share basically everything. The thing that I've really struggled with is there's like, and you've probably seen this as we've been sitting here, there's like a bit of a goofy side to me. Like I'm a little bit silly at times. Like I'm like, hey, what up, man? You know, dab. God.
But this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean.
Yeah. So when I started, like I intentionally didn't put that in the videos. Yeah. And so now I'm having to learn how to like add that back in. So I definitely agree that like, being yourself and like letting your personality shine through and also your interest as well. I think that's a really good point that I haven't explored as much as I probably should, but especially personality, like letting those elements shine through. So like if I have like a weird idea about a video, like, or like for a section in a video, like I will just put that in. I know it might not land with the audience, but like stuff it. I'm putting it in anyway because that's like me. The thing I'm also trying to do is because like some of my stuff rolls in my life is like, put other things I'm interested in. So like, I really like tech. I also really like matcha. Like I just ordered a matcha set. And so I'm like, how do I put that into a video?
Yes, totally.
Kind of thing. And like put all these elements in to like make it a Sky video.
Exactly.
I think there's also like the element of how it looks. When I like started shooting stuff, like I went down the whole like film emulation rabbit hole. There's a video, I think one of the best performing videos on my account is like a film emulation guide. And I'm like, oh, but like it does well, you know, sometimes you got to do it. But now I've like started grading my stuff. Like I've built my own power grade that like, I'm the only one who has that. Like no one else, people could replicate it, but like that is the way I look, the way I like compose my shots. Like there's, the way I shoot stuff, because I shoot stuff with a lot of empty space. Like even when I'm working with other creators, they'll set up a shot and I'll be like, oh, can we just like, because that's just how I think.
Yeah, of course.
And so there's all these kind of elements that combine, so like personality, like style is probably like the look, and then like your interests, and then you put them all together. It's like bam, new person.
Yeah, but this is how you will never create something that will be the same as someone else's.
Yeah.
When you start including all these things. And you're right, it isn't just interests, it's like your opinions on things, how you shoot, your color. There are so many creators. I'm like, I know their colors. When it comes up, I'm like, without looking at the name or anything else, I would know who that creator is based on how they color grade. And I think that's cool, like to be able to reach that point. But it's how you dress, it's the music you use, it's all of that, all combined together is what makes that channel yours, or those videos yours. And something that I've been listening to a lot of that I find interesting is, and I think not just in what we're talking about, but I work with clients and brands and businesses, and I think it applies to them as well, is world building. Like you're creating this world. And when you look at it from that point of view, everything can then start being structured in a way that you can make this world whatever you want it to be. And then when you turn up to Sky's channel, that you're entering this world that you're familiar with. And people keep coming back because they're familiar with that feeling that they get when they enter this space. I listened to a podcast recently and a guy put it down. So I want to remember his name because when someone says something and it just hits, and he was selling clothes. And he's like, I sell clothes, but when I'm creating content, I'm building a world. And when people come to any of my social pages, they get to become familiar with this world. And my clothes are a ticket to this world. Like I'm selling tickets to make you feel like you're a part of this world. Do you know what I mean? And when you're making these videos, you're creating Sky's world. And to him, it was clothes. But to other people, like a meetup could be like a ticket into experiencing Sky's world in real form. And I'm like, if brands and businesses saw their content from that perspective, it takes you to another level. Like I love talking about this and listening to people explain how they go about creating their content because of things like this.
Yeah, I think there's also an element of like when you start to think about it as like a world rather than like your life, you can start doing stuff that's not exactly like true, like kind of heightened reality. Like there's this bit that I really love, and some people liked it as well, in my latest video, where instead of just like going to the store and picking up my camera, because like that's what most people do, you go buy your camera, pick it up or unbox it and stuff. I'm like sitting in a park and like a hooded figure like runs past and like throws it into my chest. That was like the most random idea, and I was like, I almost didn't put that in because I thought of it and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna send it. And like, I love my friend. She like dressed up like full like hoodie tracksuit, like
like a ninja.
Bless her soul. She's such a legend. I made her do that take like probably like 20, 30 times. And it wasn't like a cold day. It was like pretty warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that really adds this like level of like interest as well. It's like, because I'm doing something different to what everyone else. Like when I was like, okay, I'm buying a new camera. How do I make this not another new camera video? Like I might package it like one, but like how do I, differentiate myself?
Exactly.
I love that bit so much. It's
I
so
thought it was
dumb, but
fantastic.
it's so good.
But it's true, and I think that's the great part about creating for yourself. You can make
you can just do it.
You can just do it.
Like,
it's my video. I can do what I want. And you can turn out great. And if it doesn't, so what? Like you don't have to, you don't need anyone's approval.
Sorry, there's a funny story about that.
Yeah.
There was one video, it was like I did a desk makeover.
Okay.
And there is a joke in it which just did not work. It was like I'm like sitting on a bed and then like some like godly presence like speaks down at me and like tells me to like do a desk reveal, like that kind of thing. And I looked at the retention graph and it's like have this like down and then back up again. I was like,
it's literally telling you.
So like, yeah, sometimes the jokes don't land. But that's okay. You still do it.
Yeah, you still have a go.
I'm still salty, guys.
Man.
Go watch that video, please.
But I think getting to a place where you're comfortable with doing these things, it takes work. Right? It takes a while for you to be like, this is you letting go of the perfectionist.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And it takes your videos to another level. It really does. Like I know I overanalyze everything, not just my own. When I watch other people's content, if I like something, I'll be like, why did I like that? And I'll really try and figure it out. And then if I don't like something, I'm like, why did that not hit? And I'm doing it because I'm trying. I don't I don't ever want to be like judgmental. I'm always just trying to improve.
Yeah, you just want to learn, right? Yeah.
Especially when I see someone that's like doing well. I'm like, man, why is this person doing well? And then is it like the thumbnails? Is it the titles? Like what's going on here? And also just why I like it. And something that you said, something that I also learned from Casey Neistat is if you find something interesting, that's all that matters, because someone else will find it interesting. Like if it's interesting to me, then surely it's interesting to someone else.
Yeah, I think there's also like a follow-up to that part of like, you also want to like be yourself like interested in it. Like I think there's such like an element of like making videos, like if you're not passionate about like what you're making, it's not going to do well, because you can tell no matter like what performance someone puts on, you can pretty much always tell that their heart isn't in what that's making.
Totally.
And so like when I make videos, like if I'm watching a video and I'm like this, like I'll watch a segment over and over again, I'm like, oh, this is a winner. Like I know the video is going to do well because I enjoyed it myself.
Yes.
Like I just get like excited about it and stuff. But
do you know who I think of when you say that? Is it Jack Conte?
The Patreon CEO.
The Patreon CEO. Have
you
seen its episode of Digital Spaghetti?
Bro, I have watched like all of them.
I
probably took that line from Digital Spaghetti.
He is at like the top of that scale when it comes to just, when you see someone that's just passionate about any video, you watch that guy for 5 minutes and you know immediately like this guy loves it like so much. Something that I learned when I first started making videos of myself speaking, especially when you're trying to get it right and you're constantly getting it wrong and it's your 20th take. That 20th take has to be just as exciting as the first one. And I remember times where I just wanted to get the line right. And I'm like, I finally said the line. And then I'd look back at it, I'm like, I look so disinterested at this time because I was doing it for 20 minutes. And then when I finally got it right, I just sounded so over it. But it was good because it taught me like every time you say this, you have to really say it like it's the first time you're saying it.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting process.
Fun fact. Most of the time in my videos, that's the first take.
That's great.
I don't do second takes most of the time.
How long has it always been that way?
This is probably the last, like probably mostly this year that I've taken this approach. Like you could not do this at the start, like no way. But yeah, I was just like, I just want it to be like genuine. So I might like rehearse the line like once or twice before I go on camera, but most of the time I'll step on camera, I'll do the first take.
Yep.
And unless it's like super technical, I'll just be like, cool, done, move on to the next one.
Awesome.
Because I find like that thing, it's like if I just do it like once or twice, it still has the same energy that I want, and I don't then tire myself out.
Yeah, exactly.
By like trying to
because you lose
perfection it.
Yeah, and it's very hard to make it sound like you're saying it for the first time. I remember this was like 2 years ago. I was just trying to make a short form video, and it killed my life. It really did. But I think by doing those things, you learn so much. Like I learned so much by doing that. All that frustration and looking back at it, I'm like, oh man, every time I'm like, this is a learning experience. Every time.
I think like one of the best ways to learn is to just fuck as many things up like as possible.
It's true.
Because you screw them up and then you go, okay, cool. How do I not screw that up? Like that's how I learned pretty much everything that I know about like making videos. I made a lot of mistakes and I went, oh, that's bad. How can I improve?
Yeah, no, it's so true. And man, I can speak on that like heavily. No, I really can. But the thing is, it's like, first it was like it was like photography, then it was creating videos. This whole podcast studio, I was telling you before we started, like trying to figure all of this out was new to me. And it was literally just making mistakes. Like I can't begin to tell you the list of fuck-ups I have made in this place. But you learn from all of them. And I think the importance of doing that is like you make all those mistakes, you learn from all of them, and then you figure it out. Like if you stick with it, you will figure it out. And the thing is, once you do that, it then gives you the confidence to then go and do the next thing. Like I've got this photography studio, same situation, but I now feel confident and like familiar enough to know I'm going to make the same mistakes I made when I was doing the podcast studio. But you just figure it out, and you're not so scared to take on risks later on when it comes to new things, especially when something as scary as speaking in public. I'm sure there are other things that you're unfamiliar with, but you're like, oh man, it's not as scary as doing that. So this is going to be fun.
The title thumbnail thing. Like I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's this. I feel like everything I say, I'm like, I'm gonna make a video about this, but it's because like that's what my thoughts do.
Yeah.
But there's this kind of this motto that I've been using for life, which is like just send it.
Yep.
And I think like that's the way you should approach these things, because I feel like people are scared to make mistakes. Like I know I'm scared to stuff up, but like it's fine. Like nothing nothing bad's going to happen. Like, you know, you made mistakes with the podcast and yet we're sitting here and it sounds pretty good. Hopefully I sound good. If it doesn't, blame him, not me. I didn't edit this. But yeah, it's like, just absolutely send it. And like, that's the same approach with like approaching creators. Like, I'm just like, whatever. Like if they don't respond, cool. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I make a mistake, yeah, cool, whatever.
Totally
I'll just move on.
Then the more and more you do it, you're exactly right. The more and more you do it, the more you realize nothing bad happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, nothing bad happened. I can do this again. And I think all the fear is the things in your mind that you think are going to happen that never happen.
Yeah.
It's usually that. All those fears are things that once you do it, you realize that none of those have ever happened. I just made them all up in my head. Like, what are people going to think? They're going to do all that. Like, interesting. One last thing I want to touch on, because I feel like it's a big part of your content.
Sorry.
I know.
I'm so used to talking. I'm just so used to talking to the camera. So I'm like, one more thing. Hey viewers, how you going? Are you enjoying this? I don't know. Maybe we'll cut this bit out.
A lot of your content is based around like hanging out with other creatives, and that takes time. It takes effort. And a lot of people struggle with finding their creative.
Don't ask me about this. I know where this. I think I know where this is going. No, keep going.
No, I just want you to touch on like just the power of friendships and having these connections and having creative friends. I know for me, for the longest time, I used to work in the health space, so I was a personal trainer. I worked in gyms for 15 years. Then I decided to be a creative. None of my friends cared about anything that I was doing, so I was just figuring out everything by myself. So for me, that was a big struggle for years. I just wanted to hang out. I just wanted mates that wanted to do what I wanted to do, but no one did. And I think once you start surrounding yourself with friends who have those same interests and you can go and film things with, it really changes things and you enjoy the work a whole lot more. You seem like someone who's found those connections and you take the time to meet with these people and connect. Like, I just want you to like touch on like the power of friendships and how that's helped you with where you're at.
I have a similar journey to yours. Like I grew up in the Shire. Like I went to a high school. Like I did drama there. I was pretty much the only person who did film for my major. Like, and then I did study like a few creative things, but everyone else wasn't really like interested in creating. They were more wanted to work in like TV or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, work at Channel 10. And so yeah, for the longest time, to quote you, like I didn't have any creative friends. Like I had a few really good friends, but they don't get it. Like normal people don't get this like drive that you have. I think is probably the biggest thing. And then, yeah, it was like kind of like halfway through last year, like I went through a pretty rough breakup. And after that I was like, oh, I don't have any friends. Like, well, I did, but like not many. I was like, oh, I need some creative friends. Okay. How do I find them? And I just started like DMing people, like just, it was kind of weird, like and kind of sus, but I was always like nice. Like I'd see people who's like, I like their content, I vibed with it and they're in Sydney. I was like, cool, DM. Yeah. And now I have like, there's a bunch of creators here in Sydney that I hang out with. There's like one Objects by Phoebe who I'm like, she's in my camera video. Okay. She's a ceramicist. So we are very like different creative kind of people, but we hang out on like a weekly basis almost because we both work for ourselves, and that's been great. There's like a bunch in Melbourne, and now I'm starting to make connections like overseas, like in Canada, like Austin, Texas as well. And yeah, like having this community, it's just like you don't feel so lonely. And
because it can be.
Yeah. Oh, creating, because I'm like 90% of my time is sitting there in front of a script. Like that sucks. Like I don't want to be by myself all the time. And so like having other people who they just get it. Like there's this thing like, and we've had this, like you sit down with your creator, you can just talk about your life and they understand it. Like you don't need to have this like weird small talk time because you can just like get really deep and emotional. Like, no, this like sucks. And so there's that part. You can also like ask them for feedback. Like I send my videos to my friends like so much, probably too much. I'm like, can you read this like whole like 10-page script for me because I need feedback on it and stuff. So there's that kind of element. And yeah, just not feeling alone in this process is kind of the thing. The one thing I do kind of want to talk about, like, and is a struggle that I am going through, is that a lot of these creators are in like the short form space, which is not really where I live. I've like thought about dabbling in that. That's like a whole nother thing, probably not for today. But I'm trying to find people who live in that YouTube space and are bigger than me, because I also want, like, I want creative friends, but I also want creative friends who are better than me so I can learn off them in that YouTube space, because there's all these questions I have, like the thumbnail title thing. I wish I had a friend that I could just like go to and be like, hey, what the heck?
It's true.
And that's like part of the Canada move because I have a feeling I might be able to get in contact with like Cult Cohen or like Life of RZA and like those kind of things.
Totally.
I have connections there to like make it happen.
You've mapped it all out.
Oh, there's like, it's like I have a friend who knows someone who knows someone who knows. I'm like, I can maybe make that work.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I'm always trying to do that. The one biggest thing that I have been like wary of is having too many friends because like I'm busy, like I work 6-7 days a week realistically. I don't have a lot of time. And so I'm trying to, when I like make these friends, I'm like, do I have bandwidth to allocate the time to be your friend and to support you through this journey? And like, I've kind of like said hi to people, like kind of been acquaintances, but yeah, it's just like trying to find that balance of like,
that's good
being
awareness.
there for those people and not just being like, friends.
Yay.
Yeah. I also want to be there for them and support them as they support me.
Yep.
Like I don't want to just be like a one-sided thing.
But that takes a lot of self-awareness. There's a lot of people that just have like thousands of friends.
I could not do that. Like I'm quite an introverted person, despite what a lot of people would think.
Yeah.
And so like I need a lot of time by myself as well.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is like knowing how to say no to people. And I don't know if I know how to do that yet.
I can't do it. I'm very bad.
Because I've had people like DM me on Instagram and be like, hey, I know you want to catch up, but like I kind of don't have time ever. I'm sorry if you're watching this.
Oh my God.
You're great and what you make is great, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's true. And it is learning to say no and knowing where to put your time and your energy. Because if you don't, it's the learning that like when you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're also saying no to making time for yourself. That's a big lesson that I had to learn and I'm still learning now. Like me saying yes to those clients was taking away time from me doing the things that I really wanted to do. So I was really saying no to making time to create my own content. Big, very important. I connect. There's so many things that you've said today where I'm like, dude, I felt exactly the same way. Many times.
Yeah, I think it's because we've had like both a similar and a very different journey because we've both gone from that like working in like the corporate kind of land, like or like the full-time land to now doing freelance. So it's like, and
trying to figure
you
it
get
all
the
out.
vibes.
Totally.
This is like the creative thing. Like this is what happened. Like this is like creators are great because you just get it. You just get it.
Yeah.
You get it. You're watching this. You're a creator. You get it.
Totally. So we were talking about like other creators that you hang out with. I want to know like who are some. Let's just go with one creator that like who inspires you. Like who do you look up to the most? And I want to go with like one that you've never met since you've spoken about all these plans that you have. And
like met all of them.
I've met all of them. No, but what about like Cole, someone that you haven't met that you're like, man, I love this person's work. They inspire me. Wish I could one day meet or work with them. And someone who you know personally.
I think the person that I want to meet is Colt.
Okay.
I think his videos like unlock something in my brain where I was like, oh, YouTube doesn't have to all be the same. Like there's one that he posted. It's like, I chased my dreams for a year. And he has this like sequence of like going through like a trash can with Oscar the Grouch. And I was like, oh, and it was kind of this moment where just like light bulb, it's like that, like things where light bulbs like appear above you. You should add some light bulbs in post, you know?
Done.
I'm just making more work. Light bulbs here, like, no. And that was a really pivotal moment. And I just really connect with all the stuff that he posts. I have like slyly DM'd him a couple of times, like just replying to stuff. So I'm like, I'm kind of in, but I'm just waiting. I think the moment I go to New York, I'm going to just be like, hey man, let me buy you a coffee. Like, let's hang out. So I think that's like the one that I don't personally know. I think the one that I do know, we haven't met in person yet, but we talk a bunch online is Mylene's Mind.
Okay.
She's a Canadian creator. I can't remember how we like got talking, but she's been very helpful just being someone who is bigger and getting to discuss like a lot of the struggles that I've had and a lot of that kind of stuff and just being there to like chat through stuff. And it's not like I love her content, like that does help, but it's more like her as a person has like been the inspiring thing.
Does she make long form content? I love her short form. It's amazing.
Kind of. She like posts like pretty inconsistently on YouTube, but it's like so like short form is kind of, I think, her like bread and butter. And
they're great.
Long form's like
really, really good.
Kind of like whatever, like you know, just post whenever kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's so many. I've been wanting to get onto like the YouTube space because I follow it so much, man. Like constantly, all the time. Whenever I hang out with my girlfriend, she's like, "Go watch your YouTube."
You're eating dinner with your spaghetti, and you're like,
she knows. She's like, "I'm just going to get on TikTok." She's like, "I know it makes you happy. Go watch your YouTube videos."
I love that. That's so wholesome.
Yeah, it's great. And I'll just watch vlogs like all the time. I'm obsessed. And for me, it's like, I love this so much. Why am I not making this? And I've tried many times in the past and failed because of work. Like the client work always wins, always. And it's this massive, like huge frustration that I've had since the beginning, since I've started this whole thing. It's like, I want it. And then when I watch people do it, I'm like, man, why is that person doing it? Like, if they can find the time, why can't I? And I made one maybe 3 years ago. Didn't make another one until 1 year ago.
Damn, that's a big break.
Yeah. And then another year went past. And about 2 months ago, I was like, I need to start doing this because it's just going to keep eating at me and I don't feel fulfilled. Like, I know it's the same. Like, if you don't do it, you
just
die
missing.
wondering, right? And maybe 3 weeks ago, I was like, I'm just going to start filming everything. And I'll just learn as I go. They're going to suck, but I'll just learn as I go. And I posted a YouTube video. I started making this is a total rant, but
no, I appreciate it.
In the past, I would start, this was my process, and I don't know if someone else would go through this too. I would start making I'm going to film everything and turn this into a long form like vlog. So I'll start filming everything, and then as I'm putting it together, I'm like, none of this makes sense. Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, there's no story here. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people would do this. And I'm like, there's no story here, and I'm trying to like put together something that doesn't really make sense. And then I'd get so frustrated with it, and then I'd give up, and then I'd just turn them all into like little short form things that I can just post. And I would always, about 3-4 attempts now, I'd try and film everything. I'd get frustrated with the process. I'd quit, turn them all into short form clips and do like a day in the life, little 30 seconds in my life, because that's kind of like a trendy thing. And you're like, at least I did something with this, and you feel a little bit better about yourself. There was like a cycle of doing that for about 2 years. 2 months ago, I was like, no, this is it. Got rid of those 2 clients. I'm like, now that I've created the time, there is no more excuse. I've created the time. I'm doing so much, like there's no like lack of ideas. It's not like, I'm not doing anything. There's plenty that I can share. So I started filming, started putting one together. We were talking about you coming on the pod, started watching all your YouTube videos, and I was like, damn it, I'm doing it. And I posted a YouTube video 2 weeks ago. Because of you. And I'm not just saying this because you're on here. I was actually saving it for you to be here because I watch Tatskis all the time. Highly respect that guy because of his consistency and how good it is. And because of him, it was always playing on my mind. And then I was watching yours and I was like, you know what? This has got to go. And I posted it, started filming my second one. And I'm like in the process of finishing that too. And it's like, okay, once I get 2, I can get 3. And then I've just got to keep it up. It was like the little push that just made me go, yep. So thank you.
I don't know what to say.
There's nothing to say. You don't have to say anything to it, but like it got me going.
I'm glad it could do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would like my videos to do is to help other people like start their journey to some extent.
Yeah, that's the point. That's why I was like, you know what? I posted because of that. I feel like he should know the same way I'm trying to do something here on this pod. So also thanks for coming on and sharing everything. It's cool because
that's good.
We've been through like similar things, and there's been times I've had creatives on. I'm like, man, like we're both creatives, but you are like in a totally different world. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just doing something completely different. To me, it's interesting because it's cool. Because I was like, I don't get it, and I think it's great because it shows people that there's no one way to get there. There's so many different ways to like make it as a creative, and I think for me, it's like getting different people on shows that there's so many ways to do this. You don't have to be like, well, that guy did this, therefore I have to do the same thing. There's many ways to make it work, which I think is important too. Yeah,
it's like I don't think you should ever try and follow the same path because everyone's like, it's hard because you have to figure it out yourself, but to some extent, but it's also good because you can figure it out yourself.
Yeah, like you really can. And there are people like you may like something, like, oh man, but this isn't going to work because this other guy I follow, like he posts every day, therefore like I need to post every day.
Me. Just like summarizing my thoughts at this point, like, ugh.
Yeah, so it's great. It's been great to have you on. Everything you've said has really hit. I love your drive, like your mindset in terms of how you think about things and how you figure things out. I'm like, dude, I was thinking that same thing. So many things that you said were like, yeah, I get that thought process. That thought process is like cool. And I'm glad that you shared it. I'm glad that you share your videos because it helps people feel okay with how they're feeling about their own journey.
You know what's kind of funny is I'm probably going to have to watch this back and write down all the stuff that I said and go, oh, that's a really good video.
Yeah, I've seen you come up with about 10 video ideas in the last hour.
Well, I think I finally cracked that, like, how do you speak on camera video? Because that's like, yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me about that. So it's like, I'm glad you brought that up. But if I was going to leave you, viewer, I'm going to address it because I'm going to break. Yeah. I love breaking the fourth wall. Take it away,
yes.
All right. If I was to leave you, viewer, with like one thing that I have really learned over this like period of time, it's like, this is just so weird with
no, you. Man, I love it.
That's okay. If I was to leave you, viewer, with like one thing that I have like really learned and like I really want to pass on to you, because that's what I do at the end of my videos. I love to like just pass on information and leave people with like a reflection that this content journey, it is a marathon. It's gonna be really hard. Like a lot of this has sucked, but I also love doing it so much that I didn't ever want to stop. And like, hey, I have not made it yet, but I'm starting to. Like, I'm here on this podcast. Like, I would never have thought I would do something like this, you know, a couple of years back. So the biggest thing about this is like, find that drive within you, stick it out, grit your teeth. It's going to suck, but one day it won't. And that day is like so worth it. All right, that's all.
Fantastic. Bye, fam. That was so good. I felt like I was in one of your videos.
I was just like, it just felt, right to do that. I was like, I don't know, like,
yes, totally.
That's how I love to end things.
I think it's great.
Take your wheel of your podcast.
just give it here. And I just let it happen. I'm like, this is good. If only more people could do that. That was good. And you know why those messages hit though? Well, while you were saying that, I'm like, this hits because you can see that like you're going through it. You know what I mean? A lot of people try and like preach things and it's like, you've got to live it first before you can start.
Don't get me started on that.
Thinking about this. It's
but
true.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I love the message and I love that you're living it. You're going through it, you know, and it's working. So I hope you continue to progress. I love it, man. Honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for, I feel like I should say thank you as well, but thank you for having me on. It's like, I'm really glad I finally got to do a podcast. Like I have wanted to do one for so long. Like
you should.
There is hopefully a world where once I move to Canada and settle down, I can find some creators there to start doing a regular one with, because that'd be sick.
Yep.
But thank you for having me on. This has been like so much fun, just like yapping about all my thoughts.
I love it.
It's great that someone just wants to like listen to me. But are we finishing now?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think so. I know I can't stop.
I was about to end the podcast.
Can you?
Yeah, I can.
All I'm going to say is like, I love having these, like same. We get so busy and we get like, I know I do. I get so stressed out with work and trying to manage all these things that I found like this time, even though this is still kind of work to me.
I feel like I'm not. I'm just sitting there.
But I get to like turn everything off for a second. Like the phone's gone, the phone's not working, but the phone's gone. Like I don't have to answer to anyone, and for like an hour or two, I can just talk about what I like doing. And now that I'm like more at ease, like in this spot and in this seat, I'm like, oh man, like I look forward to it because it's like everything gets to turn off for a bit, and we can just chat about what we like. And I'm glad that I also feel pressure of like, I want to create a good experience. Like people that come out from, I don't know where you came from.
Holsworth. It's like an hour drive.
Yeah. I'm like, people have taken the time to come here and, you know, spend time and be here. And I want to like respect that. So I really want to be like good host, create a good experience.
You're good at it.
Yeah,
there was never a period where I felt like I had to like try and force it.
Yep.
Like I was still trying to find like, oh, where do I come in? But like, I think you would kind of notice that and then let me come in with my ramblings and then just like listen. Right. So yeah, I respect you so much for this. I'm like, I wish I could do that. But yeah.
Thank you, man. Take it away.
All right. Well, people, don't forget to subscribe because if you don't, I'll be sad. Do you want me to be sad? You want me to be sad? That's right. All right. That's a wrap, people. We'll see you, I don't know, whenever you post this. And when you post the next one. All right, bye.